Hi class, this video is to help you kind of work through topic 5 DQ1. So to kind of help you work through it, I'm going to go through the first example, show you what's expected, kind of explain how we got the answers, and then I'll leave you guys to do the rest examples. So this is our key, or not our key, this is our template. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work through this first example. So I'm going to delete these out of here and I will kind of show you guys the process of thinking through this. Okay, so to start with, you have these different situations on the left. You are going to work through the situations and you're going to try to determine the probability of that happening. And then after you do the probability, you will determine the odds. When we are working through these, we are going to focus on using permutations and combinations. Permutations and combinations are formulas that will calculate the number of times or the number of outcomes for that thing happening. So when you think of combinations and permutations, these are like counting the number of ways it could happen. These are not giving you your probability. The probability will be found by taking the total number of ways that you can win divided by the total number of outcomes. The permutation and combination will help us count the total number of outcomes and then the total number of ways we can win. A permutation is where the order matters. So if you want to find the probability of someone getting first, someone getting second, and someone getting third, the order matters because it matters who's in first place, it matters who's in second place, it matters who's in third place. So we'd be using a permutation. In a combination, the order does not matter. So a combination would be used if you were to randomly draw 5 things out of a hat. Do you match the 5 things in any order? So it doesn't matter which one was drawn first, which one was drawn second. All that matters is you match the 5 things that are sitting there. So that's kind of helps gives you the difference between combination and permutation. Just one thing to keep in mind, permutation, the order matters. Combination, the order does not matter. Okay. So reading through this first situation, we have 20 horses ran in the 2016 Kentucky Derby. The exacted beta involves picking the first 2 finishers in order. That in order is that key that tells you this is a permutation. Because it says in order, we know this is a permutation. So that's what we would put in our first box. And then we needed to determine the number of outcomes for the 2 horses finishing the first 2 spots and the probability of winning the exact bet if you pick the horses at random. Okay, so what's happening here is we're going to go to this Kentucky Derby. We are going to pick 2 horses that we think are going to finish first and we think are going to finish second. We have designated 1 horse to finish first. We have designated 1 horse to finish second. We need to find the probability of us winning this bet. Okay, so since the order matters, it matters which horse is first, which horse is second. It is a permutation. If the order did not matter, then it'd be a combination. Okay, now we're going to describe how to calculate the number of outcomes. So what we're doing here is we are going to pick 2 out of the 20 horses where the order of our selection matters. So out of all these 20 horses, we have to pick 2, and it matters which one's first, and it matters which one's second. To calculate the total number of outcomes, this is where you're going to use that permutation or combination. Since this is a permutation, we will use the permute function in Excel. If it was a combination, you use that combin function. So I'm going to type my equals. I'm going to type my permute, open parentheses. When you use these functions, you need to put the total number of things you're choosing from. So we are choosing from 20 horses. From those 20 horses, we are picking 2. So I'll put the 20 first, and then I'll put my 2 second, close the parentheses, and hit enter. So what this is calculating here, this 380, this is the total number of outcomes. Out of all these 20 horses, we have 380 outcomes for picking 2 horses where our order matters. So if you're thinking about this in terms of betting, you are trying to pick 1 out of these 380 outcomes to win. So we have to pick the right one out of all 380 of these outcomes. Okay, so then describe how we can win this game. So this description, any kind of description that describes what needs to be done to win this game. So we must pick the right first horse and then the right second horse. That is one way of phrasing it. So we have to pick the correct horse to come in first. We have to pick the correct horse to come in second. Another way of phrasing it is you are picking the first two horses in order to finish this race. That is what's happening here. We are picking the horse that'll come in first, picking the horse that'll come in second. We have to get our first place and our second place horse correct to win the game. Okay, so after we describe it, now we have to figure out the total number of ways that we can win. For the first five, this number, you can kind of think of it in your head and you won't have to do any calculations for it. You should be able to kind of think about it in your head and come up with the number. For the very last one, this is why we have a gold cell on this last one. For that very last one, you will have to do a calculations using combination. Hint, hint, order does not matter on that last one. You will have to use a calculation using combination where you will pick 3 out of the first 5 and then pick 2 out of the remaining ping pong balls for that last one. Okay, but for the other ones, they are in green because you are not supposed to be entering in a calculation. You should be entering in a single number. Okay, so when we're thinking about our first situation here, we have 20 horses. We are picking the first 2 horses to finish. We are trying to find the total number of ways that we can win. So to win this, since the order matters and it matters which horse we pick for first and which horse we pick for second, there is only one way to win this. Simply because that order is very, very important, we only have one way to win this. We have to pick that first horse. We have to pick that second horse. We're not going to win any other way. So if we have the horse Baby Doll coming in first and we have the horse Bella coming in second, we have to pick Baby Doll for first. We have to pick Bella for second. If we pick Bella for first, Baby Doll for second, we're not going to win anything. We have to get that order right. So there's only one way to get this right. So we would put a 1 there. On most of these, there will be only one way to win because you have to match it exactly. On that last one, it is going to be a little different. So make sure you are using a calculation, use those combinations to help you out on that last one. Okay, so once we get all this set up, now we're going to calculate our probability of winning. So to calculate our probability of winning, we're going to take the total number of ways we can win, and we're going to divide it by the total number of outcomes. So I'll be taking that 1 in F2 divided by that 380 in D2, and then I'll hit enter. This will be formatted as a percent. You can go ahead and leave it as a percent, and then you can go ahead and leave the number of decimal places there. Some of these numbers will be very small percentages, so just keep that in mind. So don't try to round it to 2 decimal places. Go ahead and keep all the decimals that do pop up there. And then the very last step, so that is our probability. As you can see, we have a 0.26% of winning this. So our probability here is very low. And then we want to also find the odds against winning this. So when you think about odds are phrased in the way of, they're typically phrased in the way of you have so many ways of winning against so many ways of losing. So here, since we have one way of winning, that means we have 379 ways of losing. Since we have one way to win, we have 379 ways to lose. To calculate this in Excel, I do want you to use an Excel function to do this. We will follow that equation we see up there. We'll do parentheses 1 minus our probability, and then we will divide that by our probability again and hit enter. And then you can see it's 379. So since we had one way of winning, that means we have 379 ways of losing. So this one here, this is not very good odds. More than likely you would lose this scenario if you were to bet on this. Okay, so now the next couple of examples, I am going to leave these for you guys to kind of calculate and see how you do. I am anticipating a lot of questions to come with this DQ, so do not feel bad if you are struggling or if you're having trouble. Feel free to reach out. I will kind of give you some tips on these? Okay, so the Kentucky Derby ones, those are all going to be very similar. So keep that in mind, kind of follow the model from the very beginning for those Kentucky Derby horse races. They are getting more complicated as you move down, so your probability is going to keep getting smaller and smaller. Your total number of outcomes will get larger and larger as you work through those Kentucky Derby problems. Once you get through the Kentucky Derby problems, you're going to be kind of working through some lottery problems. The lottery problems, we have 3 different ones. The first one is going to be similar to the Kentucky Derby problems. You have 50 numbered ping pong balls. You're choosing 4 randomly. The order of the 4 matters. Order matters, so that means permutation. So that is going to be very similar to those Kentucky Derby problems. The next 2 lottery ones, we are picking out of this lottery where the order does not matter. So you can see here, we are choosing 5 balls at random. We need to match all 5 numbers. It does not say in order. So that's how you know for this one here, the order does not matter and you will be using a combination. On this very last one is going to be tricky. You are going to have to put on your thinking cap for it. On this last one, you are choosing 5 balls at random. We are going to be choosing we're going to be matching 3 out of the 5 numbers. Order does not matter here. The important thing to think of here is you want to break it down into kind of 2 different combinations when you're thinking of the total number of ways you can win. You want to break it down into the combination of choosing 3 out of the 5 that are chosen, and then choosing 2 out of the remainder number of ping pong balls in that bin. So 5 of them are going to be the winners. We're choosing 3 out of the 5. And then the remaining 35 is where we're going to get our other 2 balls from, because we just have to match 3 of them. So on that last one, you will have to get a little creative when it comes down to the total number of outcomes in this gold cell. That's the odd one out down here. But just remember, you are doing 2 combinations that you will multiply together. All right, I hope this helps. Feel free to contact me with questions. I do think this is a tricky one, so please let me know if you do have questions as you're moving through it.